Chapter 3, Department of Transportation Engineering Program. Transportation and Travel Department of Defense Transportation Engineering Program. Chapter 3, Highways for National Defense Program. The chapter provides the policy procedure for the integrated with the Department of Defense Public Highway needs for federal, state, and local transportation programs normally conditioned with emergency situation procedures, services related to the Defensive Highway System Program, the Defensive Access Roads Program, the Department of Defense Traffic Engineering Program, military use of the public highways. There's also a collective constitution of the Highways of the National Defense Program, HND Program. 3.2 Program applicability chapter applies to the public highways, those open to the general public travel in the United States, including non-restrictive roads for the military installation. 3. The policies, installation activities commander would identify the peacetime contingency off installation public highway needs for the state and local highway authorities as appropriate projects programs can be planned and budgeted. The state and local government authorities are expected to develop and maintain public highways accommodated with the normal continuing traffic generated with defensive installation activities for the same for other non-DOD traffic generated. Military installation activities will not maintain the provided funds and maintain other off installation public highway except for the extraordinary circumstances as approved by the commander of the Military Traffic Management Command. The Department of Defense will attempt to pay its fair share of the public highway improvements as required for the result of a sudden, unusual, unique defensive generated impact that the state and local transportation authorities cannot reasonably expect from the funding. A single Department of Defense agency will represent and coordinate with the Department of Defense component of the policy relating to defense non-installation public highway needs of the U.S. Department of Transportation, Federal Highway Administration, the American Association of State Highway and Transportation Officials, and other federal, state, and local transportation agencies. The single Department of Defense agency ensures the national defense has adequate, safe, and efficient highways with the setting of the policy of the administrative programs, integrate overall the defense highway needs, the civil highway programs of the federal, state, and agencies, monitor and provide input into the federal highway, state, and highway transportation legislation as required to successfully represent the Department of Defense highway transportation needs, promote an effective relationship between the design standards of the military vehicle equipment and material, public highways advise military authorities to coordinate with and obtain the permission of civil transportation authority their public highways for all moves that exceed federal, state, and legal limits for the subject highways usual to unusual hazards. Incorporate federal traffic engineering highway safety guidelines with the highway design programs of the Department of Defense components for the on installation roads. Conducting transportation engineering analysis matters with the vulnerability of the high designated important national command. The CD Rush Transcom designated with the Commander Military Management Command as a proponent of the Highway National Defense Program, advised the commander of the Military Management Control, Military Traffic Management Control Command, recommended policies that are related with the public highway matters. The commander with the Military Traffic Management Control will access the Department of Defense focal point of the integrated with defense public highway needs the civilian highway programs, federal transportation legislation, administrated with the Highway National Defense Program in cooperation with the Federal Highway Administration, includes the establishing and administration guidelines program designated with the Strategic Highway Network and connected highways coordinated with the federal, state transportation offices to ensure the public highways are adequate for the defense, ensure the cooperation of the Department of Defense, civil transportation authorities of the defense and non-installation public highways, ensure an effective relationship between the design military vehicles, equipment, and design public highways, use of DOD coordination, cooperation of the Federal Highway Administration, the state during the emergency highway traffic operations, the Secretary of the Army delegated authority to the commander of the Military Traffic Management Command, provide the DOD components with the installation-related traffic engineering services promptly and appropriate federally highway state and the guidelines practice of the Major Army Command of Transformation Installation Management Regions, other service major command of the Department of Defense installation officials working with the Department of Defense components incorporate with the Federal Highway Design, standing of the planning of the design construction of the new installation of the roadways administrator over below all the Department of Defense traffic engineering program, the Department of Defense components and the installation activities. 5. Organize, host, inter-service transportation engineering work group meeting on the needed basis as resource. The permit identify, discuss transportation engineering requirements, standard funding of the support, and other issues concerning with the service of the material management traffic. The military service is provided with military management traffic command, military traffic command, military management command was requested validated importance of the STRAFNet, the connector highway routes. Inform the military management traffic command of change the installation that adversely impact the non-installation of public highways. Obtain state permits is required by the Department of Defense Directive 4500.9R, oversized, overweight, and other special military movements of the public highway. Provided appropriate technical resource information is described in Section 36 of the regulation of the Military Management Traffic Highway improved for the DRA program. The program budget is adequate for the certified DRA program projects transferred for the Federal Highway Administration, and provided adequate information of Military Traffic Management Command to validate defensive compliance with the Federal Highway Safety and Design Guidelines to define the traffic and engineering study needs for the appropriate technical transportation engineering guidance from the Military Management Traffic Command, provided the technical per diem funding and permit as appropriate, develop and maintain installation of street roadways to provide with safe developing, driving environmental acceptable level services of compliance with accepted federal, state, and guidelines, certified with construction bids of the ballistic missile facilities do not include allowances to repair the damage of the public highways if applicable for Section 210H and Title 23 United States Code 23 United States Code 210H Section 1.7.7.2C. 3.5 Highway System Programs. Generally, National Defense Highways needs to generally address the regular federal, state, and local the highway programs. The Title 23 Highway United States Code demonstrated with the Federal Highway Administration provides federal programs to assist the state's highway construction improvements. Offensives needed should be incorporated into these federal, state, and DOT programs where identified with the Department of Defense and appropriate planning process with success, leading to the time Military Management Traffic Command with the primary Department of Defense component to coordinate with the Department of Defense highway system needs. The Federal Highway Administrative Civil Highway authorities of the ASH, HCO, MTMC will monitor the work, influence national highway transportation legislation implementation when the installation of active commanders determine the deficiency may exist in the quality and services provided by the local public, and after determining their own civil and transportation agency will not correct the deficiency, they should contact the Military Traffic Management Command with the potential assistance. The description of the highway needs will be used sent to the Military Management Traffic Command MTTE SAA 720 Thimble Shoves Boulevard, Suite 130, Newsport News, Virginia 323 606 4537, using the following command channels for the validation forwarding. Army sent to the appropriate MACOM, the Transportation Installation Management Ruling, IMR. Air Force sent to the appropriate major command of the Air Force Center for the Environmental Excellence, and then to the headquarters of the U.S. Army Air Force. Navy sent to the Regional Commander Installation Calamity Coordination, the Navy FAC Navy Corporation, second of the headquarters Marine Corps Installation Logistics Department. Attention, the National Guard Bureau Reserve Units, other defense agency activities sent to the Engineering Directorate. Strategic Highway Network. The Strategic Highway Network, or STRATNet, is composed of 61,000 miles of national highways imported by the Department of Defense. Includes the D. Eisenhower system of the Interstate Department of Defense highways. The other strategically important public highway segments, an additional 2,000 miles for the connector roads to ensure the key installation activities, intermodular facilities reports are linked to the Strategic Highway Network. The routes are also selected by the based on the installation of public highway, the needs of the freight records, operational plans, and provided with the Department of Defense, and together with the Strategic Highway Network and connectors representing minimum public highway network is needed to support the division mission of the peacetime contingency situations. 2. The continued validation of the Strategic Highway Network is important to the Department of Defense provided because it is formally identified with the parts of the National Highway System. The National Highway System is designated with the Congress to provide one of the major funding of the categories for allocation of federal aid, highway funds of the state for the use of the public highways designation. All assist to the states in the meeting of the Department of Defense public highway needs. The Department of Defense installation activity officials will send the defensive highway system needs through the commanding channel of the Military Traffic Management Command. This deficiency non-installation public highways are not being corrected by the responsible owning highway officials. Military Management Traffic Command may occasionally request specific information from the Department of Defense component to ensure the adequate information through the validated Strategic Highway Network and connectors, as well as the other public highway issues. Upon request, Military Management Command will provide the policy, the guidelines, technical assistance, support of the Defensive Installation Command, coordinated with the needs for the Civil Highway Authority, Civil Highway Vertical Clearance. Military Management Command coordinates with the Federal Highway Administration to ensure sufficient vertical clearance exists on the IDHS to accommodate with the Department of Defense oversized movements. The Federal Highway Administration agreed with the IDHS modifications, new design for the less than 16-foot vertical clearance. The Military Traffic Management Command for the review, the determination of the potential advisory impact. Installation commanders should advise the Military Management Command for existing potential IDHS vertical clearance in the installation vicinity that may affect the mission. 3.6 Defensive Access Road Program. The defense installation activities can traffic impacts that require the public highway improvements civil highway authorities cannot anticipate. These impacts can occur quickly, and highway authorities cannot be expected to provide program improvement to normal highway civilian programs in time to meet the defense requirement. The Defense Access Road, or DAR program, provides the meaning of the Department of Defense to fair share of the public highway improvements used as the result in sudden and undefensible defense-generated traffic impact on unique defense public highway requirement. The Defensive Access Road Program is defined in Section 210 of the Title 23 U.S. Standard Code that authorizes the Secretary of the Department of Transportation, which funds the Department of the Defense Access Road Program, to construct the required roads for such roads qualified, certified, important to the national defense. The Secretary of Defense, as he designs, the Commander of the Military Traffic Management Command also designates the Department of Defense official representing the set for certifying the roads important to the national defense Access Road Program is primarily administered by SAT, or SAT. The Defense Access Road Program is co-administrated with the Federal Highway Administration, which acts as a DOD consultant in non-installation public highway matters, consulting, conduity, expending defense of the public highways. State and local highway agencies are expected to develop, maintain adequate highways to serve the permanent defense installation activities such aim as non-defensive traffic generated. Therefore, the civilian highways should be highway improvements maintained in projects on support on long-term defense generated traffic normal anticipated growth. 5. The DAR program does not provide with the maintenance roadways funded with the program except for the maintaining the structural capacity designated gravel roads supported by the Air Force Intercontinental Ballistic Missile Program. In situation military department operation maintenance OM funds are used for the maintenance. Example, the Department of Defensive actions that may result in an installation impact in justifying the defensive access road and also include establishing a new installation and expanding an installation workforce on the mission. The result of the quick dramatic increase of the off-installation traffic volumes that substantially degrade the local public roads, adding new installation gate or access points that adversely impact the public highway, as assigning a new mission with the result of repetitive movement over the weight and the oversized vehicles and equipment, or inadequate public roads explained with the boundaries of an installation such as existing non-installation public highway may be closed. Installation officials should ensure that the off-installation highway impacts are considered when planning installation developing system, since the Department of Defense resources can be required and significant impact to other installation as a result of program budgeting. The Department of Access Roads for the public highway improvements are responsible for the appropriate military departments eligible with criteria on the behalf of the Commander of the Military Management Command of the SAT. He determines the road for the eligible for the Department Defensive Access Road Program. The applicable criteria is found in the Federal Highway Administrative Federal Aid Policy. Non-regulatory supplemented subpart E, the Part 600 Code Federal Regulations, Title 23 CFR 660 E. The qualification certification candidate access road must be accomplished one or more of the following: provide a new connection between the installation and non-installation public highway, provide an urgently needed relief of the existing highway where traffic has suddenly doubled due to a new installation, expanding workforce, avoid intolerable congestion, structural failure, non-installation public highway caused by a projected temporary surge of an installation generated traffic, accumulation, new requirement for regular and frequent movements, oversized and overweight vehicles, equipment for that may cause severe damage to public highways, replacing non-installation public highway closed by military necessity during peacetime. Public highways servicing commerciality owned and operated defensive industry will not be built and improved. The Department of Access Road funding, although its obligation to civil authorities to provide adequate access to state-owned National Guard facilities. Implementation. When the installation commander believes the non-installation public highway deficiency needs the corrective action, maintenance, and improvement of the commander will contact the responsibility state of the local highway achieve the authorities for the relief. If the state and local authorities do not relieve there through the regular highway programs, the installation commander will prepare an access road and needs report. The access road needs report should be described in detail. Current deficiency access road defensive generated cause that have contributed to this problem, guaranteed preparing the report contained with the SATE telephone number 800-722-0727. The report forward through the command channels for the validation need for the ensure the competency information provided with the commander of the review should compare the proposed improvements overall the prior priority to the commander, appropriate military Department of Defense future of the funding capabilities. Once endorsed by the command, the report will forward to the SAT. The SAT will determine if and has potential to qualify the Department of Defense access road funding, and if it does, the SAT will request the Federal Highway Administration to conduct an engineering field evaluation. The Federal Highway Administration will work and coordinate with the appropriate state and local installations, military management, traffic command officials, identify the warranted improvements, approximate the cost, and the state and local highway agencies plan for the visual ability to correct the highway deficiencies. Based on the findings of the Federal Highway Administration and other available information, the SATE it will determine the proposed project meets the Department's of Acquisition Regulation Road Program eligibility criteria for the fair share of the project that should be funded by the Department of Defense. Once the final project of the scope, the amount of the defense of the funding of the contribution is agreed on by the appropriate civil authorities and SAT, the command or the Military Traffic Management Command, in accordance with the Title 23 U.S. Standard Code 210, will certify the road section is important for the national defense. The certification is a requirement before any of the Department of Defense funds are provided with the public highway authorities. The Department of Defense may not be passed with the public highway authorities for non-installation highway improvements through any other means of the direction of the Congress. The Department of Access Defensive Acquisition roads funds are normally identified with a specific line item in annual military MCPs of the appropriate military department, according with the military Department of Defensive agencies of program budgeting and financing. The defensive acquisition access roads projects for their respective installation activities appropriated from the Defensive Access Road Program project will be transferred to the Federal Highway Administration at the direction of the MTMC. Once the expenditures of the funds are authorized by the SAT, the DARA project usually is designed and constructed by the own highway authority for the Federal Highway Administration at the request of the state. 3.7. Military use of public roads. G1. General highways are designed as several general monitoring public provided with the interstate and the intrastate and interstate freightway movement that meets the needs of the National Defense Department of Defense in peacetime, operates with the federal, state, and highway legal limits, safety regulations to help ensure the highway's adequate availability if they are required for the National Emergency Department of Defense. Therefore, the Department of Defense policy requires the movement of extremely oversized, overweight vehicles of the cargo, alternate modes of rail or barge or other commercial highway carriers whenever possible. If no feasible Department of Defense may obtain the permits from the owning of the highway. The authorities for the movement of the oversized, overweight equipment of the public roads is required for the other than non-Department of Defense highway users. Additional Department of Defense must get permission from the own highway officials for the convoy operation for the public highways when required. The state and local authorities' failure to obtain the appropriate permits can result in the citation of the driver, personal fines, as well as the potential vehicle seizure to degrade the military relationships within the states. 2. During an emergency, it is following normal written highway permit coordination with the approval procedures will adversely delay the cause of mission failure. Unit commanders can proceed with a movement after the contact and receiving the verbal approval from the appropriate state, local, and official military officials should follow up with a formal written request for a written permit. The appropriate civil authorities should be advised of the move at the earliest possible time, the coordination completed as soon as the mission permits. The military management traffic control command establishes procedure responsibility for the Department of Defense components as related for the use of non-installation public highways. Military management command will also assist in the coordination resolution of the problem that arises for the Department of Defense and the civil highway and authorities when requested military use of the public roads may result in the damage overall above which would normally be expected or occur, especially pavement drive. Pavement damage. The military may be responsible for funding needs of repairs in an accident or specific and identifiable movement which caused the damage if an installation commander receive the reimbursement claims for the damage such as this from the public highway authorities if the claim should be processed through their normal channels if and does not exceed $100,000. However, the normal claims proceeding with the procedure should not be used for the repair of the road damaged as a result of reconstruction, classified installation, or food the roads of serving ballistic missile facilities or for claims for excessive of $100,000. These should be referred to the Military Traffic Management Control for resolution. B. Oversized, overweight movement and convoys. Defensive Transportation Regulations, Department of Defense 4500.9R, Part 3, Appendix 5, permits the oversized, overweight, and other special military movement on public highways in the United States provides specific guidance. Request of the special hauling permits, the Department of Defense representative authorized to determine whether highway movements are essential to the national defense, both commercial and organic transportation movements. Certification movement that is important to the national defense. D. The convoy operation, the installation of the transportation officer The ITO will ensure the necessary road permits that are obtained for organic, oversized, overweight, and equipment of the convoy operation. Permits should be obtained with the appropriate state officials and coordinated with the Mobilization Movement Command, or MOBCON. Program State Defense Movement coordinated with the phone numbers addressed with the Department of state points of contact who are authorized to arrange these permits. Certified the moves can be found in the Military Traffic Management Command T publication directory of the Highway Permit. The MOBCOM official directory is available with the MTMC T website, the t.army.mil, calling 800-722-0727. Mobilization Movement Control Program. Under the MOBCOM program, the defensive movement of the coordinator, the DMC, has been designated in each state of the area under the commander Stark to plan, schedule, and obtain the highway clearances to monitor and resolve programs related to the defensive highway moves in and through the state. And the defensive movement coordinator, designated representative, will also act as a senior Army military representative in the state emergency highway preparedness program. The Army National Army and the Army NGB has the responsibility to manage the implementation of the MOBCOM program for all Department of Defense military departments. The SAT coordinates with the MOBCOM program with the Civil Highway Authorities, establishes, maintains a list of defensive movement coordinators, executive level state contacts, and contacts SAT, the Department, 800-722-0727 to resolve any problem that may arise under the implementation of this program. Emergency Highway Preparedness, per Executive Order 126506, volume 53, P47491, Federal Registry 0E0 EO 12656 and FR 47491. Civilian non-DOD Transportation Authority regulates the traffic of the public highways during the national emergency to ensure the safe, efficient movement of the priority personnel and equipment. Implementing the Emergency Highway Prepared Program may include the contracting and controlling movements that are dangerous areas, clearing priority traffic over the routes with limited capacity, evacuating areas in time of a natural disaster or national emergency. Federal Highway Administrator responsible for the administrative highway portion of the Emergency Preparedness Program. The actual restoration and regulation of the traffic in an emergency is responsible for each of the state. The National Emergency Preparedness Program is decentralized through the U.S. and it becomes operational at the direction of the federal emergency transportation officials through the Federal Highway Administrator and or state governor through the state emergency management officials. State authorities will develop an emergency prepared plan based on the Federal Highway Administration direction and guidance. Each state that has an emergency operations center to provide the guidance directing the emergency services. The center address the response needs for the office of the governor, the state of the civils, proceeded with the agency, state of the Department of Transportation, state police, public utilities, and the MOBCON Defense Movement Coordinator, and at the start will primarily Defensive Response Representative can be appropriated guidance for the Department of Defense units. Military Management Command will ensure that the Federal Highway Administration integrates the Department of Defense operational requirements in the EPP. Maneuverable area roads. General and maneuverable area roads are public roads that have been defined by the official military orders to be used the vehicle of large military unit division equivalent during the field of maneuvers exercise. Because of the number of the vehicles involved, the road damage may occur beyond the normal use. Therefore, the Military Management Control has developed procedure to local highway authorities to reimbursement of the damage should any of the occur, with the procedure included with the Civil Highway Authority in notification, proper documentation before and after the roadway conditions. C. To the procedures, the senior unit commander will notify the appropriate MACOM headquarters of the Military Management Command where the field maneuver exercise he has been ordered that had adversely impacted non-installation public highway. The information on the time maneuver, the types of the vehicles, track system to be involved, the a map showing the public roads to be used, and the border of the maneuver areas as there should be provided. The MACOM will notify the appropriate Federal Highway Administration Division Administration state level officials and approve them information and send a copy to the Military Management Command. And the representative of the military installation, state, local highway authorities, and the Federal Highway Administration will conduct before and after maneuver inspections. Costing of the survey should be paid with the Major Common Exercise Fund. When the total claim of the public road damage with the maneuver area is less than $100,000, it should be paid by the installation through the normal claims procedures as prescribed in Title 10 U.S. Standard Code 2733. When damage claims exceed $100,000, Federal Highway Administration will be forwarded for the before and after inspection reports and recommendations to SAT, and return of the SAT will evaluate the report, determine the appropriate cost of the funded. The Department of Defense, upon doing the SAT, will forward the recommendation of the Commander of Military Management Command, who, upon concurrence with certificate damage roads as are important for the national defense, authorize the claim to be paid for the major common maneuver and the exercise funds. Track vehicle road march. It is occasionally necessary to move the military units of the public highway during a national emergency and contingency that requires the rapid deployment of the track vehicles from installation to the port's embarkment maybe the insufficient time available to use the preferred alternative modes of transportation such as rail still meet the constraints, and also its alternative modes might not be available due to terrorist attack, natural disaster, or other events. Track vehicle road marches generally are only feasible for units located within 75 miles of the port of embarkment. Due to the vehicle degradation, the ITOs should determine when the future tracked vehicles road marches are probable and coordinate with their plans with the state highway authorities. This will ensure that the march will minimize any adversely affected with the tracked vehicles will have on a bridge or pavement of traffic operation. When a road march is required, the ITO, the deploying units must be provided with the state authority of the Military Management Command at the 800-722-0727, the description of the march, why it is necessary if the ITO has a pre-approved plan with the state authorities should grant the installation permissions to conduct the march if and with and safety permit the parameters of the coordinated plan should state the authorities delaying the granting of the permission from the march of the ITO should notify the SAT, who will then work with the appropriate state authorities to seek approval. It is beneficial to conduct the training of this exercise to practice run to prepare the track vehicle road marches. These marches must also be coordinated with improved state authorities. Normal permanent the procedures will apply, and it will be responsible for the deploying of the units to reimburse the state for any road damage caused by the march, subject to a $100,000 limitation. Title 10 U.S. Standard Code 2733. Road servicing and missile sites. Extraordinary maintenance program for the gravel roads. The Air Force ballistic missile sites generally are located in the remote areas served by a local class of roads, non-installations such as gravel farm to market road. Vehicles used to transport missiles are oversized weight missiles are transported must be used at the public roads on the 1 year round basis. The Military Management Command will maintain a list of the roads that are used for the missile transporters. These roads are either paved or gravel. Paved roads generally are structurally adequate to carry the missile transportation. However, the gravel roads must be maintained at minimum structural level to ensure the serviceability year-round. Because of the unique situation, the roads have been certified with the Commander Military Management Command as an important national defense, qualifying for the DOD funds. State and local highway authorities have the responsibility to provide a normal level of maintenance for the roads for the same of their other roads to cover the structural and standards above that required by the normal for the public use of the roads. The Air Force funds the extraordinary maintenance program. The OM funds the Military Management Command. Air Force, the Federal Highway Administration has developed a policy procedures to administrate with the extraordinary maintenance program through the Department of Defensive Access Road Program, as are described in the FAPG 23 CFR 660. Road damage during the missile site construction. Defensive contractors may need the non-installation public gravel roads other than those that have been certified as an important national defense during the construction of the missile facilities, because some of these roads will not be designed to support the type of traffic construction vehicles that may be damaged. Before the construction project begins, the military department component of their contract with the Military Management Command identify the roads that might be susceptible of damage. The SAT will request the Federal Highway Administrator conduct before and after the survey of these roads. These survey will form the basis of any other future claims of damage of local authorities. Should the claim be filed, the Deputy Assistant Secretary of the Appropriate Military Service will certify that construction bids that do not include the allowances of repairing damage of the public road per Title 23 U.S. Standard Code 210 H. Military Management Control. Military Traffic Management Command will provide guidance after review and analysis. Relevant information. The SATE will determine the recommendation on certification for the command of the Military Management Command. If required for the command of the Military Management Command, will certify the roads as important national defense so that the defense funds can be released and repaired of the roads through the Department of Defense regulations. Title 23 U.S. Standard Code 210 of the FAPGG 23 CFR 660E provided further guidance regarding the repair of damage done during the construction of the reconstruction of missile facilities. Okay, 3.8. Emergency relief with the federal-owned road programs. The emergency relief with the federally owned programs is authorized under Title 23 U.S. Standard Code 125 and administered with the Federal Highway Administration Program provides assistance for the repair of the reconstruction of federal roads, bridges, trails that have been seriously damaged due to wide area national disasters, catastrophic failures, and the Department of Defense-owned roads, bridges, and non-military installations that are eligible for potential ERFOs. Funding of the roads may be open to the public travel. Maintained by the installation must be considered the public land highways as defined in Title 23 U.S. Standard Code 101. The term public highway lands means the forest road under the jurisdiction and maintained by public authority open to the public traffic level and any highway other through the unappropriated, unreserved public lands and non-taxable. Indian lands are other federal reservations under the jurisdiction of the mandated by the public authority and open to the public travel. Implementation. Installation official who believes the road damage has occurred with a natural disaster, catastrophic failure, may contact with the military traffic management command and begin with the process of determining eligibility. This should be done within 2 weeks of the following disaster failure. The installation will need to provide the date and time, the description of the event, identify the description, the damage to the road. A section based on the information of the SAT will become the initial Department of Defense notification to the Federal Highway Administration. Installation officials should immediately document the roadway damage with the photographs, detailed description, cost estimates that should begin with the emergency repairs to restore the essential traffic services to prevent further damage to the federal-owned facilities. Properly documented, the cost may laterally reimburse onto the Federal Highway Administration lands of the Highway Division Engineering of the FLHD. Makes a formal finding with the disaster qualifies in the funding under the ERFO program. Installation officials of the installation of the Federal Lands Highway Division engineer will prepare a disaster assessment and the field report applicable to the Federal Land Highway Division engineer will make the finding of the documentation natural disaster catastrophic failure as occurred in the eligibility for ERFO funding. If it is positive, funding of eligibility is issued detailed, but the site of inspection will be conducted with the support of the installation official. The installation will submit an applicable application to the Military Traffic Management Command for transmittal. Federal Lands Highway Division Engineering. Federal Lands Highway Division Engineering will approve the appropriate project for the Federal Land Highway Division. Administrator will allocate the obligatory authority to the SAT. The SAT will then allocate the obligatory authority as needed with the detailed ERFO procedures that can be found in the FHWA Emergency Relief for Federal-Owned Road Disaster Assistance Manual available for the Federal Highway Administrative and Military Traffic Management Command. 3.9 Public Lands and Highway Discretion Program General. The statutory reference for the Public Lands Highway. The programs are entitled in Title 23 U.S. Standard Code 202, 203, and 204A. The Transportation Equity Act of the 21st Century. C21. The purpose of the program to improve the access and to the travel and with the federal-owned lands. Historically, approximately 50 to 70 million has been applied annually to improve projects within 100% of the funding coming to the Federal Highway Trust Fund. 3. Public roads to provide access to adjacent to and other areas within the federal land, such as military installation eligible for the roads, must be under the jurisdiction of maintained with the public authority, be open to the public. The public land highway funds are available for the transportation planning, research, engineering, construction of highways and road, parkways, and transit facilities. B. Implementation. If the military installation of officials believe that they have an ineligible project which can apply with the public land highway funding, that they should contact Military Management Command at the 800-722-0727. Military Command will assist the preparation of the application, provide necessary coordination with the appropriate state of the Department of Transportation, submitted the final application to the State Department of Transportation, promote the project within the Federal Highway Administration. If the state of the Department of Transportation accepts the candidate program for the Department of Defense, they submit the Federal Highway Administration and for consideration only projects that can be obligated within the current first year and should be submitted, but the project selection is made by the Federal Highway Administration at the discretion based on the available funding. 310 Department of Defense Traffic Engineering Program. The Department of Defense Traffic Engineering Program provides a means of military installation to receive qualified engineering guidance to solve the traffic flow, safety planning, and the parking problems. The traffic engineering studies also are effective in implementing federal goals to conserve the energy, to reduce the vehicle inspection. The Military Management Command, on the behalf of the Secretary of the Army, functions the traffic of the DOD component, overall Department of Defense Traffic Engineering, coordinated technical assistance development of installation traffic and engineering studies. Installation traffic engineering services. The traffic engineering services available for from the Military Traffic Command, Mobile Command, and include the geometric design of the transportation facilities, analysis of the traffic operation safety concerns, analysis of the roadway facilities, analyze the assigning of the specific gate entry of the control facilities to support installation, support preparation, anti-terrorist project selection, placement, operation of the traffic control device, guidance in support of the installation master comprehensive planning for the regional shore instruction planning. Each of the study involves a review of the installation master development and comprehensive plan, collection of the data, review of the accident and the congressional problems, location analysis, roadway enhancement and alternatives, development of recommended engineering improvements, traffic engineering guidance. Normally is the form of the brief in and out visit to the installation, followed immediately by the published report of the following forms or associations are available. On the telephone advice, an assistant to the Military Management Traffic Command and Transportation Engineers are available at 800-722-0727 to help resolve the problems. Limited in scope, answer specification questions related to the proper application of the traffic control devices, design criteria, and similar topics. Review the plans, concepts, and proposals. These services are available to validate the preliminary design for the new transportation traffic generation facilities prior to the actual site of the selection of the design approval. 3. The reconnaissance studies address the problems limited in scope, usually are accomplished by the engineering being on site for the 2 to 4 days. Intermediate study. The intermediate study addressed the several problems for limited average scope of the usual area accomplished by the engineer being on site for the 4 to 7 days. Comprehensive study. Normally they analyzes the entire installation transportation network and they address the numerous operational planning issues because of the time and the resource required to conduct them, that they are usually outsourced to contract firms and installation expenses. Contracting assistance. This includes the professional guidance within contracting the commercial traffic engineering services. The Military Traffic Management Command also offers the limited contact assistance for the installation for the investigation of high frequency crash locations, no expenses for the installation when the funds are available. 7. Special studies and self-help manual. These studies and manuals include the development of the traffic engineering criteria standards that serve as a practical reference in solving common installation traffic engineering problems and implementations. Request for telephone guidance for plan reviews for constant and intermediate studies should be directed at 800-727-0727 or the SAT MTMCT MTTE SA 720 Thimble Souls Road, Suite 130th Newport News, Virginia 236064537. A copy of all the requests should be provided to the request of the headquarters of the Major Command for concerns with prioritization. All requests should be included in the type of the positions desired for the purpose of the study. Description of all problems to be addressed and noted within the site plan, if possible, in the phone number and the email address at the installation of the point of the contact. Requests are prioritized based on the impact study that they will have a national security, safety, force protection, probability of implementation, cost, and command support. The type of the amount of the support from the installation during the conduct of the study is minimal and varies in accordance with the scope of the study. The methods normally in the funding situation will be requested to cover the travel and per diem expenses of the study and engineer. The scope of all studies limited to the focus of the relevant traffic safety and planning issues. The more detailed description of the Military Traffic Management Command services available can be seen at mate.army.mil. Excellent guides produced by the U.S. Air Force can be referenced to the AFCEE Brooks AF Mill. Also, unified facility criteria such as UFC 4-001001 prepared to the United States Undersecretary of Defense of Acquisition Technology Logistics to provide excellent design guidance related to the installation of transportation facilities. I'm just wondering. All right, we're going to read on Chapter 4, and then I'm going to take a break. Chapter 3.1.11 Highway Safety Program. Generally, this section describes the policy procedures related to the Department of Defense Highway Safety needs and implementation. 23 U.S. Standard Code 402, the Department of Defense 4510, and 11 of the Department of Defense 47151, Department of Defense 605. 5.4. This regulation applies to the military installation activity sites with the street, the parking facilities, workforce of the 1,000 or more personnel. Policy installation commanders will develop and maintain the roads and national expected standards that provide with a safe driving environment for all drivers and passengers. Installation commanders will implement a highway safety program in accordance with the Highway Safety Program guidelines, federal administrative areas, as promulgated by the Secretary of Transportation in 23 U.S. Standard Code 402 to define the Federal Highway Administration Highway Safety Grant Management Program program manual. Traffic safety manuals. Appropriate military installation will develop and maintain a safety program that includes the traffic accident reports, investigation, road reports, and roadway safety programs. Each of the programs should be developed and based on the size of the installation and the existing anticipated severity of the traffic safety problem. The traffic record system. The record system that should be established and maintained to include the complete accurate information on the roadway and the parking area of the crash, location, time, the circumstances, probably causes, consequences, data for each of at least the most recent 3 years to 5 years desirable periods should be recorded and filed. These data will be essentially identified with the high accident location sites having at least 5 property damage accidents, 3 injuries, or 1 fatality per year. The potential accident causes the accidental investigation program. Investigation of the traffic accident should identify the applicable violation record of the information of all human and vehicular roadway factors possible contributing to the accident. Qualified investigators should be trained to perform this work when requested by the installation command of the military management, traffic command, traffic engineering. Engineering staff will be studied with the problem, making recommendations for the improvement to reduce the frequency severity of the traffic accident. Roadway safety plan. A roadway safety plan shall be included the following resource developing plans. Trained and qualified personnel should apply with the proper traffic engineering standards practiced into the design, signing, marking the installation roadways, parking the facilities. This plan outlines on how the installation, where the installation engineers, technicians should be trained at the minimum level of the training that should be completed, with the training requirements may be set and attended with the traffic engineering short course every few years, maintaining the work knowledge. The key references related to the roadway design traffic control device. The plan should also increase the brief instruction how to contact the Department of Defense traffic engineering staff as military traffic management control for the telephonic, electronic, on-site guidance implementation plan. For the purpose of this is to organize the installation efforts to identify and analyze potential hazard at locations, schedules to execute the corrective actions, follow up with the evaluated effectiveness of the change, and also each of the installations and prioritizing the improvement projects based on their anticipated traffic safety benefits, largely on more complex installations require more than the plan to address the numerous traffic issues. Traffic control device. The plan provides the periodic review of the existing traffic control devices and the systematic replacement of the substandard deteriorated devices. All installation traffic signal signs and pavement markings will be substantially conformance with the Federal Highway Administration Manual of the Uniform Control Traffic Control Devices for the street and highways. The MUTCD, MUTCD.fwh.gov. Variance as designed application of the installation traffic control device to the standard contained with the MUT-CD must approve the military management control command with the Federal Highway Administration. Installation shall maintain a current copy of the MUT-CD in order to ensure the traffic control device compliance. Chapter 4, Railroads and National Defense.